feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? And good afternoon if you're down here in Australia. A bit of an impromptu live show, actually. I wasn't planning on coming on this early, but we do have a breaking news that's going to happen in about 20 minutes or so. There's supposed to be a major update to the Gus Lamont case. So, if you don't remember who Gus Lamont is, he is a missing 4-year-old boy from Yunta in South Australia. Went missing September 27 last year. Currently, like, it's a massive investigation. They're trying to find out what happened to this little boy. There's been countless searches of the property where he was last seen. Cops have been out there, SES, military. There has been a monster search for this kid for months now. And now today, they're saying some big update. They haven't told us what yet. Some big update at 1:30. So 1:30 Eastern time. It'll be 1:30 for me, 1 p.m. for South Australia. So it's 1:04 for me right now. So we've got about 26 minutes to wait. So we'll talk about the case while we're waiting. But a bit of a sort of, I don't think anyone was expecting a big update today for Gus Lamont. And I sort of think it caught everyone a little bit by surprise. I think we've all been focused on other cases right now. Let me get set up and then I'll talk to you. Like, no one knows anything right now. Hold on, let me go here. Like the Daily Mail, who are normally the first one to break news, even if it's against an embargo, not seeing anything. So they're not seeing anything right now. Yeah, I'll pop this up on the screen. There you go. Yeah, so we don't quite know what it is as of yet. I don't know. It could be a big reward. They could be upping the reward for information regarding Gus Lamont. It could be a new investigative lead that they're looking at. Maybe they've arrested someone. I don't know. I don't think so. I think if they had arrested someone, we probably would have found out by now. There would have been a probably some evidence, like, when people get brought into court and they end up on a docket. So I don't think so, but I wonder what it's going to be. I wonder what it's going to be. Could it be a bigger reward? That could be true. Let me see. What is the current reward? I can't remember what it got up to. It was a $1 million reward. Okay, I don't think we're going to get a bigger reward than $1 million bucks. So I don't know. Maybe someone called in with something that they want more information on, and they're like going to appeal to these people. That has happened before with these type of press conferences. Marlene said his case has been quiet for a while. There was an update in early Jan when the Major Crime Squad detectives spoke to the media. I think it was like the first week of January. And he basically said that they had kept investigating. They had been in touch with the family over the holidays. And yeah, basically that's it. They had been keeping on top of everything. So what is happening today? We will find out shortly. Just double checking the Subhole website. I don't see anything right now. I was wondering if they were going to do it live on their Facebook page, which they do sometimes, but we may have to go to a different source for it. Let's keep looking. Yeah, so Will we get a new direction for the search for Gus Lamont? I think there's a lot of people out there that honestly believe that the search has been looking in the wrong direction for a long time. Um, I don't know if that's the majority of how people feel, but it's definitely a sentiment that's been put out there several times by people saying that in their sort of like Monday morning quarterbacking, they sort of think it's a more nefarious situation. Linux says I'm following ABC Australia. Yeah, I have it on in the background. I'm just keeping an eye on it to see if they switch to the press conference. Right now they're showing some other. What is this? Okay, it's some government press conference about housing or something. I don't know. It's not what we're looking for. Nothing to do with Gus Lamont. Seems to be some boring, dry press conference from some government guy. Um, yeah. So that's what's going on right now. Advertiser is also saying they are going to stream it. Unfortunately, I'm not a. I ain't giving them any money, so I'm not going to get it from there. But they don't have much of an update either. They're just saying here that they'll be at police headquarters in South Australia when the press conference kicks off, and that they're going to bring updates as they come. They're saying it's been 131 days since Gus was last seen at his family's property, 43 kilometers south of Yunta, and they're saying 131 days of pain, heartache, and questions as multiple large scale searches failed to find answers. I think that's a good way of putting it. It's been over 100 days, and we still don't know much more than the day this all broke back in September. I don't think I know that much more. I don't think you guys know that much more. We just know that this kid went missing and disappeared into thin air. They've checked that property. They've drained water sources. They've sent divers in. They've put people down mine shafts. They've had drones, helicopters, military, all sorts of things. And so far, no answers. Hey Wendy, how's it going, my friend? Where have you been, Wendy? Hey Penguin, good to see you. Hey Four Sons mom, Lisbeth, Kim's here, Kelly's here, Lennox, how are you guys? Marlene, Mama Mia's here, Marilyn Landis, Gayla's here. Who else we got? Yep, Kim's here. Hey Kim, Rachel. Got a lot of people here today. Busy afternoon. Busy afternoon. Hey, my friend, good to see you. Yeah, yep. So about 20 minutes from now, this press conference should get underway, and all the mysteries will be. Whoa, what's this one? Yesterday, the Joint Counter-Terrorism Team. Nope, it's a different police press conference. Something in WA about a joint terrorism investigation. So something going on in WA about a joint terrorism thing. Um, let's hope that whatever happens in 20 minutes' time actually gets us a step closer to bringing this little boy home, because I can't imagine a kid being out there. Like, I think if he is out there, if police want to say that he wandered away from the property and that's their line of inquiry, there's no way he's alive. He didn't meet a friendly family of koala bears. They didn't take him under their wing and teach him how to live on the land. It's not a fairy tale. It's most likely the point of survivability was months ago. So eh, whatever happens, it's a not a great ending, no matter which way it goes. So it's very, very sad. Wendy said, I can't seem to make the late show and the earlier pop up shows. I'm still working. Good. Well, glad to have you here tonight. Linux says WA for people. Yeah, WA is Western Australia. Elizabeth said, can't make sense of this one either. It is a bit weird when you have a property that large. So they own this giant property in the middle of nowhere. You would think if a child just wandered off, you would be able to catch up with them. That's always been the point that I can't get past here, is that sure, okay, the kid wandered off, and then you guys figured it out half an hour later, but they got vehicles, quad bikes, four-wheel drives, whatever. I'm pretty sure I've never seen a kid of this young go faster than an automobile. I'm pretty sure those vehicles can go really, really fast, and they would be able to make up ground on a child within half an hour. Even if he went straight in a straight line for and went as fast as he could for half an hour, you would still be able to catch up with him, right? That's always been the point I've not been able to get past with the Gus Lamont thing, is that if you are to believe their timeline, I don't understand how they never caught back up with him when they realized he wasn't there. And that's something I think I'd like an answer to, even though we've never gotten a coherent answer to it. Um, Kelly said, when was the last search? I think the last search was, I think they did one in late November. Late November was maybe the last one. Yeah, November 2025, specialist teams spent over 10 hours inspecting multiple open mine shafts, some as deep as 20 meters, without finding anything related to Gus Lamont. They also uh, they also looked in a dam that was 600 meters from the homestead. They drained it in October of 2025, and they didn't find anything. Um, yeah, so we're waiting. It's the 5th of February today of 2026, and this will be the first sort of major update in a while, in maybe a couple of months. They did do a small update to begin the year, um, and that's sort of it. Let me just double check. I'm just going to check a source here. Sometimes they set up like a separate live stream for. It doesn't seem like they're going to do it. Strange. I would have thought they were gonna set up a completely, separate live stream for the Gus Lamont thing, but they're not going to. Alright, we're gonna have to use the main one. Um, let's see. Timeline is wrong. It could be. I mean, anytime you have an investigation where a child or anyone is missing, I always go by the rule of you can't believe anyone. No one. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't care if it's family. I don't care if it's their best friend. You can't put anything concrete unless you have some sort of video evidence to back it up, and that's it. Because if you don't know who's got an involvement, you don't know who's got self interest. You got to take everything as almost as if people are lying, because you don't know, and you gotta go from that angle, is that no one is 100% trustworthy. Lisbeth said, I didn't read all the latest about it. Is the theory that he wandered off and fell in, I don't know about fall into a mine shaft, but they've definitely been pushing the theory that here, I'll give you the wording that they did. I think that the way they're wording it is, yeah. While detectives initially believed Gus wandered off into the wilderness, they have stated more recently that nothing is off the table, including the possibility of foul play, though no such evidence has been confirmed by the police. So that is sort of their official party line. That is what they're saying. We'll have to wait and see what that means. Okay. So we are just keeping an eye out. It's probably about another 13 minutes away before we get to that press conference in South Australia. I thought while we're here, it's been a bit of a slow day for the other big case going on right now, which is the Nancy Guthrie case out of the USA. A lot of people sort of uh, sort of commenting today, but there's not a lot going on. Although authorities did head back to the home today and cordoned it off once again and did another search, which is interesting because it's less than 24 hours after they gave the property back to the family. So, did they miss something? Did more information come to light? What sent them back to that home to cordon it off again for multiple hours and then take some evidence out of that house again? They were seen taking boxes and some other things out of the home. Yeah, I did see that. That just came through. I saw that. It has the 3 of them in it. Yeah, I don't know if I have it. I saw it, but I don't know if I actually have it. Yeah, it is here. I don't know if this is all of it. This is the Daily Mail's one.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. She's 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
That seemed like a very deliberate video. It's almost like the authorities asked them to make that video to reach out to whoever wrote these ransom notes. I am still a little unsure whether they're real or not. Um, you know how she said in a world where we live in a world where video and images can't be trusted, basically. One of the scam tactics that is used quite frequently is they take snippets of people's voices, and considering that her mom has been in the media, been on TV, all these type of things, it wouldn't be hard to use AI to manipulate her voice and image to do a bunch of different things, considering she's been on her daughter's TV show multiple times, including recently. So I wonder if someone has already sent in a proof of life video and they are thinking that this is not real. It looks like AI. It's not something my mum would say, and maybe they're sort of pushing for a more solid proof of life, because I wonder if they're not quite sure whether this is real or it's not, and maybe they can't figure it out, and they're just trying to say, well, if you really do have my mom, we need something concrete. Like, I think if they could speak to her, that would be probably that's what most kidnappers would probably do. Um, so we'll have to wait and see what exactly that entails. There is a press conference due tomorrow, and that is probably the next time we're going to hear from the authorities with a big update. So tomorrow, and maybe they'll tell us more about what this video means. All right, I have to set something up, and we have to keep an eye on it. So hold on. Okay, they still haven't crossed over to the press conference as of yet. If someone sees it and for some reason I haven't, just tell me in the chat. But so far, I don't see it. Let me check here. It's not on there either. Sounds like it's probably going to be done only on one place, which is interesting. I'm surprised they're not going to use their own YouTube channel. So South Australian police actually have their own YouTube channel, but I don't see a pending live show for them, neither on their Facebook either. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Yes, Thursday will be the next press conference, which is tomorrow. All right. There you go. There's your update for that. I don't know where this is going to go. I really thought we are going to get a big break in the case within about 24 to 48 hours of yesterday. So we'll have to see what happens before that next press update tomorrow. I think we're going to hear a lot more tomorrow. That's why they wanted that 48 hours to sort of figure a bunch of things out. All right, let's see. All right, we're gonna have to keep very close eye on this because I reckon it's gonna jump at any moment. Okay. Just trying to get it set up so we can switch over as soon as it goes live. Hmm. I am a bit weirded out that they didn't want to do a separate live stream. Lisbeth said, I took it as we are happy to talk, but these days everything we say or do can be manipulated, so we'll refrain from saying more. Yeah, it could be taken that way. Yeah, but then they say here, um, here, I'll play it again.
World where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know without a doubt that she is alive.
To me, that points to they want a proof of life. I mean, I get your point of view too, but I personally think they want if they if someone is handing a ransom and they're saying that they got her, then they want some proof that she's okay. And that's what they're pointing to me. They're saying, "We don't want no AI video. We don't want no manipulated, cut up, you know, photoshopped, that type of thing." Yeah, I definitely think they're asking for proof of life, which is something the authorities would have told them to ask for. All right, let's got to keep very close eye. We're about just a few minutes away from this press conference for Gus Lamont, and we're all going to find out what this big update is about. What do they got for us today? We'll wait and see. I don't know if any of you have any ideas, even though it's my show, but I'm at a loss. I don't know what exactly they're going to talk about today. We're going to have to find out together. And I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anyone drop any hints or anything like that as of yet. It's been kept pretty quiet so far. Kim says, I'm sure police can check for AI. Of course they can, but it's a common scam to do this to people. It's a really common scam to try and get reward money or a ransom, and they use this AI to manipulate their voice and image to try and, proof of life to convince someone. It's a well known tactic of scammers. So we'll have to wait and see. Lisbeth said, "What do you think would be a believable proof of life?" I think I think like a video call. I think that's the only way that you could do it. A video call. It would have to be so that they could ask the mom a question, Nancy a question, and then get maybe they have a safe word or something like that so they know it's her. Something only she would know. So they would ask something that only she would ever be able to reply with an answer, maybe something from the children's childhood or something only the family would know. So it would have to be something like that. It could not be pre-recorded, I don't think. All right, let me keep an eye on this. We are minutes away, and I'm sure they're going to jump into this. All right. All right, we're about 3 minutes away, 3 minutes, and they're supposed to get underway. We'll see if they're on time. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they are. Hey Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa says Gus Loveheart. Yep, Gus Loveheart. Hopefully we get some good information. Kelly says maybe they have new evidence and it's no longer a missing child case, but it's a kidnapping or homicide. Could be. You might be right. Oh, here we go.
Of September last year has been the largest and most intensive missing person search ever undertaken by SAPOL. Every police officer and civilian involved in the search for Gus has had the sole focus of locating Gus and returning him to his parents. Sadly, to date, our efforts to locate Gus have not been successful. On the 14th of October last year, the Commissioner approved the establishment of Task Force Horizon to continue the investigation in relation to locating Gus. Since Gus's disappearance, there's been a groundswell of support from a range of government agencies, private companies and community groups, all with the same focus as us, and that is to locate Gus. The scale of the air and ground search as part of this investigation is unprecedented, and today I'm going to provide you much more detail around what we have done in relation to that as part of the Task Force Horizon investigation. The search for Gus was based on him walking off from Oak Park Station and becoming lost. This is one of 3 investigation options that have been explored by the members attached to Task Force Horizon. The other 2 investigation options are focused on Gus being abducted from Oak Park Station, or whether someone known to him was involved in his disappearance and suspected death. I'll provide you further details on all of those concurrent investigations this afternoon. As well as that, today I'm also declaring the disappearance of Gus Lamont to be a major crime. So I'll start with the foot search. As I've indicated, the foot search has been unprecedented and the resources that have been used have been significant. And just to give you a snapshot of what that is, 163 SAPOL members, including recruits, have been used in the search operation. 230 non-SAPOL resources have been used. That includes the SES, the Australian Defence Force, the Army, who deployed twice in and around the Oak Park Station area. Indigenous trackers and community groups have all been involved. We've had deployments to Oak Park Station for over 20 days as part of that search operation. And there's been 8 separate searches, at least 8 separate searches conducted at Oak Park Station. Due to the remoteness of Oak Park Station and the challenges that that environment provides, the searching would not have been possible without the assistance of these resources. And I'd just like to very quickly thank the Australian Defence Force and particularly the Army and the State Emergency Service for their participation in those searches. Detailed ground search to a radius of 5.47 kilometres out from Oak Park Station was conducted over several days. So I'd just like to show you what that is. So you'll see on the slide here, Oak Park Station in the middle, and the blue line that goes around that is the distance of 5.47 kilometres. That equates to about 94 square kilometres. To give you some context, this is what it looks like if you overlaid that into the CBD. You can see that 5 square kilometres takes up the majority of the inner suburban metropolitan area of Adelaide. It's a significant distance that has all been searched on foot, as I said. We'll just go back to the slide that now shows you what that looks like on Oak Park Station. So you'll see in the shaded area is Oak Park Station itself. That is the boundary of the station. The 5.47 kilometres takes in a significant portion of the station, but you'll also see that it also just cuts out of the station into some of the neighbouring properties. Again, all of that area there, 95 or 94 square kilometres, has all been searched on foot. That search has been overseen by police forward commanders, experienced police forward commanders and very experienced field search controllers. We have a large degree of confidence that that area has been searched thoroughly. You might ask why 5.47 kilometres? The National Search and Rescue Manual indicates to us scientifically, soundly based statistical data that children aged 4 to 6 years of age are located 95% of the time within 5.47 kilometres of their last known place they were seen. So it's not guesswork. It's based on scientific, factual, reliable statistical data is why we put the foot search into that area and why we invested so much time and effort into that area in the early part of this investigation. As you'd appreciate, and you already know, this area contained 3 dams. Those dams have been searched twice. On one of those occasions, we actually drained the dams so that the police divers could satisfy themselves as close to 100% as they could that Gus is not in any of those dams, and we are confident that he's not. While I don't have a picture of it, there is a watercourse that also runs through Oak Park Station, and that has also been thoroughly searched. In total, as I said, 8 searches have been conducted at Oak Park Station around the homestead and outbuildings, interior and exterior of all of those buildings. You'll see in the top right is an overhead picture of Oak Park Station homestead and some of those outbuildings. The larger picture is a picture of the shearing shed, and then the bottom right are some other outbuildings attached to Oak Park Station, not necessarily nearby to the homestead. Some of them are a few kilometres away, but all of those outbuildings have been searched multiple times, and some of those outbuildings have also been subjected to forensic testing. No stone has been left unturned in terms of searching those outbuildings and the homestead. Coupled with that, the owners of Oak Park Station and the neighbouring properties have also been conducting their own searching. We know that their properties have been mustered with the stock that's on those properties at least once since the 27th of September, which effectively means they've covered a significant amount of ground in Oak Park Station, mustering stock during that time. We've got no information that would suggest that Gus has been located during those searches either. You'll also know that we've searched some mine shafts that are located within 10 kilometres of Oak Park Station. Those 2 photographs there are indicative of what those mine shafts look like. They were taken by Task Force Horizon members who were on the ground the day that those mine shafts were searched. We are confident, very confident, that Gus is not in these mine shafts. 6 of them were done, and gives you an indication of what they look like. That's ground searching, significant. I'll just go to aerial searching now. So we conducted aerial searching of vast areas surrounding Oak Park Station. Initially, Polair attended and searched from Oak Park Station out to a distance of around about 12 kilometres on the night that Gus disappeared, using their forward-looking infrared technology attached to the helicopter, but there was no sign of Gus using that capability. We then employed the services of a specialised drone company who did some specific searching out to 2.5 kilometres from the homestead, 2 kilometres around the dams that I spoke about, and also down some roadways leading in and out of Oak Park Station, about 8 kilometres down one roadway and 6 kilometres down another. The imagery, and I'll speak about the imagery shortly. We also engaged the services of an aircraft that had highly specialised camera equipment in the aircraft. That aircraft flew on 2 occasions for us. Firstly, out to a distance of 10 kilometres, which included the 5. So you'll see the red line gets out to 10. And also it flew out to 15 kilometres. And that's the green line. Again, I'll give you an indication of what that might look like in terms of area as you overlay it onto the metropolitan area of Adelaide. That's the area that has been searched by a highly specialised aircraft. It's not an insignificant area. In fact, out to the green line is 706 square kilometres has been searched. Just go back to the Oak Park Station there. You'll see 94 square kilometres was the initial search, out to 10. We then went out to 15. As I've said earlier, 95% of 4 to 6 year olds statistically are located within that blue circle. We are reducing that percentage even further by going out significantly further than the 5 kilometres. Such is the effort that we've made to locate Gus. What we did with the imagery that was captured by the aircraft and the drone, we gave to an external AI company who was able to provide us really high definition pictures and footage, and all of this imagery has been reviewed by members who are attached to Task Force Horizon. So I'd just like to give you just a bit of an indication of what that looks like. So when we get our report back from the company, you'll see on the right is essentially a circle. That is the circle out to 15 kilometres. And you'll see different colours within that. And what those colours are relates to what's on the left of the screen in terms of livestock and animals. So from the AI, we know that at that particular time, Oak Park Station had almost 10,000 sheep, which are blue, on their station, 6,300 plus goats, kangaroos. It even distinguishes between red and grey ones. Such is the ability of the AI, and so it goes on. So all of those animals are depicted there within that circle. You'll see down the bottom that it's detected 1 human, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. But what it also does is it identifies to us areas of interest that should be searched that is not obvious to the AI, where they can't distinguish whether it's an animal or they can tell us what it is. So we have attended Oak Park Station on a number of occasions checking out those individual sites. So here's a slide that shows you what that imagery looks like. Really high quality. The human is on the right there that's riding the motorbike. Clearly that's not Gus, but that will show you that the AI will pick up what a human is compared to a sheep or a goat or a kangaroo. So we'll just go to the next slide. And that's how we can zoom in on the imagery and how clear that is and what we can actually see on the ground, particularly out past that 10 and 15 kilometre mark. There's a couple of sheep there. So this is a capability that hasn't previously been used by SAPOL, and really getting this imagery captured and analysed for us would not have been possible without the assistance of some of these companies. And I just want to take a very short moment to thank them. And they are Near Maps Proprietary Limited, Working Drones Australia, Fujitsu, SciI Proprietary Limited, and the Australian Federal Police also assisted. And I want to thank them for the support that they've given to Task Force Horizon, and the support that they continue to give is much appreciated. So what's the result of all of this? The ground searches and the aerial searches, with the images that you've seen, have failed to locate Gus or any items belonging to Gus. At this time, despite all of the combined search efforts, we have found no evidence, physical or otherwise, to suggest that Gus has merely wandered off from the Oak Park homestead. However, if we do get new information that does come to hand, I'm not going to discount that further searching will be done, but you can see from the level of searching that has been undertaken, we have a high level of confidence that he hasn't wandered off. As I said earlier, the investigation has also focused on whether Gus was abducted from the property, and that has been a significant part of the Task Force Horizon members' day-to-day work in terms of establishing whether that has or has not happened. What we've done in relation to abduction, we have spoken to all people in the broader area around the mid-north and out even further who presents a risk profile associated with abduction or child offending. Those people have been discounted. We've identified and spoken to neighbours and people who were or had been working on Oak Park Station or neighbouring properties at around the time of Gus's disappearance. We've identified people and vehicles in the vicinity of or travelling around the area of Oak Park Station at the time of Gus's disappearance. All of those people have been contacted and have been discounted. In addition to that, we've assessed, reviewed and investigated 380 Crime Stopper actions, 38 emails directly received from members of the public, 2 letters that we've received with information from members of the public, and a large number of internal South Australia Police intelligence documents. Through all of this effort, we have found no evidence to suggest that Gus was abducted from the property. So on that, I just want to quickly go through to firm that up for you, what opportunity for abduction might look like. Oak Park Station is remote. It is 45 kilometres inland from the nearest main roadway, which is the Barrier Highway. Oak Park Station doesn't have a signpost or anything like that off a road that points you to Oak Park Station. There's nothing obvious that would lead you to Oak Park Station unless you know where you're going and the way there. It can only be accessed by one of 2 45-kilometre dirt roads that come in from different directions. The red line on the bottom right there will show you, it looks like one road, but it's actually 2. You'll see Oak Park Station kind of in the middle there. The one line that comes in from the left of that picture and the other from the top right are the 2 roads that come into Oak Park Station. They can only be accessed by 4-wheel drive. If you're driving on those roads, you're going to one of the stations or you're lost. It's not a place that you just go to. There are several gates on each of the driveways which impede access to Oak Park Station, and a number of these gates are regularly locked and secured by the station owners and the property owners in the area. Both the driveways bypass other neighbouring properties. You have to drive past other stations to get to Oak Park. The roads are not a thoroughfare. And as I've said, if you're driving on those roads, you're there for a reason. There were no vehicles foreign to the area at Oak Park Station that have been identified by either the property owners themselves or the neighbouring properties at the time that Gus went missing. We know that if there is a vehicle that is sighted anywhere in the vicinity of Oak Park Station, I'm saying anywhere kilometres away from Oak Park Station, there is normally dust in the air that will tell you that a vehicle is either arriving or leaving that area. No dust, no sighting of any vehicles at the time that Gus went missing. There's been no foreign tracks located arriving or leaving the property. The timing of being in the area when Gus was playing outside would need to be impeccable. If Gus has been abducted, it is absolutely fortuitous. There is no pattern of Gus playing outside at Oak Park Station. So for someone to start to get a dossier together on movements and time of the day, etc., we are very confident is very, very unlikely. So the opportunity for anybody to abduct Gus is extremely low with what I've just explained about the remoteness of the property and with the work that Task Force Horizon investigators have done around people in the area at the time. So it leaves us with the other part of the investigation, and that is investigating whether people known to Gus were involved in his disappearance. So from the time that Gus went missing, the family members have been cooperating with police and providing information that has assisted with establishing the movements of Gus around the time that he went missing. A detailed review of all of that information has been conducted by Task Force Horizon members. As a result of that, we've identified a number of inconsistencies and discrepancies with that information as it relates to timelines and the versions of events provided to us by the family members. As a result of these inconsistencies and investigations into them, a person who resides at Oak Park Station has withdrawn their support for the police and is no longer cooperating with us. On the 14th and 15th of January this year, Task Force Horizon investigators attended at Oak Park Station and executed a search warrant. A further comprehensive forensic search was conducted of the Oak Park Station homestead, and a number of items were seized, including a vehicle, a motorcycle, and some electronic devices. All of these items are now subject to forensic testing. The person who has withdrawn their cooperation is now considered a suspect in the disappearance of Gus. I do want to stress, however, that Gus's parents are not suspects in his disappearance. You'd appreciate at this time, I cannot make any further comment about the suspect, given that this is now a criminal investigation and a declared major crime. What I can say, however, is that we'll continue to thoroughly and meticulously investigate the disappearance of Gus until we get an outcome. We are all focused and determined to locate Gus and return him to his parents. Nothing is off the table as we work towards that outcome. I just want to take just a short opportunity to thank some people so far. As I've said, it's a 4-month investigation that is ongoing. I do want to thank the members of the public who have provided information to police. The information has been overwhelming at times, but it has been valuable, and all of that information has been investigated. On that, I again encourage anyone who has any information that might assist the investigation, and particularly to assist us locate Gus, to contact police or to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. I want to acknowledge the assistance that has been provided to Task Force Horizon by the local police attached to the York Mid-North region and the other specialist areas, including those sections within Star Group. Their support has been a very, very important part of progressing this investigation. Finally, I'd like to sincerely thank the detectives, intelligence and uniform members who are attached to Task Force Horizon. These members have worked tirelessly and displayed unwavering commitment, dedication and resilience during what has been a very complex and challenging investigation. All of these officers at times have made personal sacrifices, but they remain as committed today to this investigation as what they were at the start. We are all working towards locating Gus and returning him to his parents. I'm proud of the work that Task Force Horizon have done and continue to do, and the community should take comfort that no stone is being left unturned in this investigation. Just some advice for you as the media. I want to take the opportunity to remind you that on the instructions of the family, you don't have permission to enter Oak Park Station. If you don't heed those instructions, there is a very good chance that you'll face trespassing charges. That's on the instructions of the family. On the same note, the family members have requested privacy in relation to this as they continue to work through the grief of losing 4-year-old Gus. I would appreciate if you would respect their privacy. It would help them a lot as they work through this. So I'm happy to take any questions that you have. You would appreciate that there are some operational and investigational matters that I can't make comment on or expand on at this time, but I'm happy to take your questions.
It's obviously been widely reported before that there was Gus's grandmother, grandparent, mother and younger brother on the property at the time. You've obviously discounted other workers on neighbouring properties and the property. Were there police identified any other family members or friends that were on the property at the time? No,
they're the only people that were on the property at the time.
Are you confident of an arrest?
Sorry?
Are you confident that there will be an arrest?
The investigation, it clearly is continuing, as I've said. We want to find Gus. If we make an arrest, then that is, I'm not discounting that we will, definitely.
Will you be conducting other searches outside of Oak Park now that you're confident using it?
If information comes to hand that would lead us to another area to search, we will search those areas. As you can see from the pictures I showed you earlier, 15 kilometres out from Oak Park Homestead is a significant distance. It covers a significant amount of country or area. We don't intend to search, or we don't have any information that would go to search any other areas at this time. But as I've said, if we get new information, we will search almost anywhere to find Gus.
In terms of the suspect, are they still living on the property, and how difficult does that make your investigation?
As I said, I can't talk too much, well, not even too much. I can't give you any more information about the suspect or where the suspect is and why that person is a suspect. When we have a suspect in an investigation, it can have its own challenges. So we're working through those. Task Force Horizon are completely aware of what those challenges are, but we'll continue to pursue the investigation on that front.
When have police first become aware of the discrepancies in the timelines?
So we've been obtaining information from family members right at the start of this investigation. We have spoken to members of the family on multiple occasions in order to get information in relation to Gus's disappearance. Only as recently as the 14th and 15th of January, when we attended there, did we get more information that we've analysed and reviewed, which again has highlighted some discrepancies. So when we line the information that we received from the family against what we've been doing concurrently in relation to searching and the abduction possibility. All of that information has taken some time to get here, or to get to this point. So we've been looking at information almost right from the start.
Can you elaborate on those discrepancies?
No, I'm not going to elaborate on those.
And I imagine you have to be really careful with your language here, and you wouldn't declare someone a suspect if you didn't have good reason. Can you just talk us through how delicate this investigation is?
Yeah, it's very delicate. We have a suspect who we believe is known to Gus. So I'm not going to speak too much about that at all, but I can tell you that Task Force Horizon members, myself, are very cognizant of how delicate that is and what that means for the family. Yeah.
Just going back to the option of with some unknown defendants involved.
That's an update on the search.
All right, we're going to leave it there. I want to say thank you to ABC News, abc.net.au. You can find them on YouTube as well at ABC News. And they're the ones who provided that press conference from South Australian Police on Gus Lamont. What an absolute firecracker of a press conference. That AI drone that an aircraft that they sent out to do all that work to try and find a body, basically a body. And there's nothing. They could identify kangaroos and sheep and a guy on a motorbike, and they, all these kilometers away from the homestead, and nothing. And they've checked everything. Basically, if you listen to what they said, they have scoured that entire area. They've looked at everything, and Gus is not there. As far as they can find, he is not there. And then we hear there is a timeline problem and some inconsistencies with a suspect. I have to be careful how I say it too. If you have been following this case, I don't think any of this is a surprise to you, because it's not a surprise to me. I had said from day one that you cannot believe timelines from people who might have a self-interest. That goes for every case where there's a missing person and other people surrounding them. So, like the cops just told you, after re-interviewing, they found things that didn't line up compared to other people's information, and it just took a while for them to get there. But now we're here. Now we have an idea of what might have happened to Gus Lamont. And it seems like it is in so many other missing children cases, it's someone known to him. It was never a stranger abduction. It was someone close to him. And the statistics on child abductions, child murders, all those type of things, they overwhelmingly someone known to the child. It is so rare to get a real stranger abduction for a child in a city is quite rare. It's in the single digits of percentages. In a rural farm like this that is like, thousands of kilometers, the percentages would have been even smaller, like 0.00001%. Because like he told you, you wouldn't know how to get there unless you knew how to get there. And that you wouldn't just drive up on that place and have an opportunity to abduct Gus, because you wouldn't even know it was there unless you had to go there. I think they did a very good job today of isolating how much they ruled out every other scenario other than someone close to Gus being involved. They went to crazy lengths to prove it. That drone technology, I hope they use that in Trisha Graph. I hope they send that same drone or aeroplane up to do the area surrounding where Trisha Graph went missing. And maybe they can do some isolating in that particular case as well. Um, in some ways, it's very sad news, but I think we've all known for a number of months now that Gus Lamont would most likely be deceased. It's sad that it's a story that we've heard so many times before, that it's someone that's close to the child who has most likely hurt them. And it's a good update because we finally got some answers. It's been many months and there's been so many people, me, other creators, the news. I spoke to 2 journalists who work in South Australia, and this sort of theory they've been thinking about it for months. They've been thinking the exact same thing as everyone else. It has not been something that's a foreign idea to anyone, and it's not because of like bias or whatever. It was just the circumstances. They did not make sense. They did not line up to reality. Like I've always said, like I said at the start of this show, it never made sense to me that if you had a child out there and they went on a wander for half an hour, that you wouldn't be able to catch up to them on a property that large that you own. Might take you a little while to do, like, concentric circles, but you would eventually find them. Eventually, because your vehicle is faster than that child. You would be able to cover a lot more ground than a child can. And that never happened. And that's the thing that's stuck in my mind since day one. It just never made any sense, and now we know why. And it's very interesting that they said they've taken some vehicles, and when they executed that search warrant, they took some items as well for forensic testing. Be very interesting to find out what comes back on that forensic testing, whether they find any DNA, whether they used luminol on the vehicle, if it's possible. It's not always, depending on what the surface is, they can't always use it. There's other tests they can do. There's other chemicals that they can use that's not luminol, that pick up blood, proteins, things like that. So it sounds like they are well on their way to most likely charging someone over this. And it sounds like we're probably going to get that news at some point, because I don't think they would come out with this press conference if they weren't confident that those charges were coming soon. Yeah, well done by SA Police. You hear the effort that they went to search that region. It's really amazing. The forefront of missing person investigation. It really is. That technology is very impressive, and slightly privacy concerning, but very good for finding or ruling out missing people. Really cool, very cool technology. I hope I'll be able to contact the PIO and maybe get those slides that they gave to the media. I'm hoping I'll be able to get them from the PIO, and we'll have a look at them, because that is really some cool technology. Yeah, but hey, it's the update I think we've all been wanting for Gus Lamont, and this should, I just think it says a lot. I think people in the public are not dumb. People can read between the lines, and they can put 2 and 2 together. They may not be police, they may not be detectives, whatever. People can smell bullshit from a mile away. And I think so many people smelt it on this particular case months ago, almost from day one. It just, yeah, I think it was a overwhelming thing that the community just went, no, that's not what happened. It just never seemed to fit together, and now we know why. Rachel said, it sure is interesting to hear about all the work they have done to find Gus. Yeah, that was really cool. This guy tends to talk extremely slowly. I've watched a bunch of press conferences with him. Um, it can be a little tedious at times with him, but he does provide really good information. And that was a very well done press conference. Miranda says, didn't think we'd get the answers. I was not expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting maybe the first part where they were detailing what they had done to try and find Gus. The second half of the press conference, I didn't think that's what we were going to get today at all. So it's on like Donkey Kong right now, and it is now sort of like we have a suspect, and while they wouldn't say who the suspect is, you if you listen to what he said, he ruled out some people, didn't he? He was like, "Oh, they're not involved, and this person, and there's not these people." There was only so many people on the property at the time Gus went missing, and I'm going to read them to you. It is understood Gus's grandmother, grandparent, mother, and younger brother were on the property at the time. Gus Lamont's parents are not suspects in the investigation. There you go. That should tell you almost everything you need to know about who might be involved here. Can't name them at this time, but it seems fairly obvious who it is. Lisbeth says, now I'm low-key terrified about drones, AI technology. Who can use it and where? Yeah, that thing was, I'm pretty sure when they mentioned Fujitsu make camera lenses, and I wonder if they were the provider of the camera or something like that, or the processing technology, because it would be like a $500,000 camera or something like that. I don't think the average person would be able to buy one. I'm guessing they're like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for the camera, and the plane and equipment probably costs even more than that. So it's not something that the average person could go out and buy and start scanning people's neighborhoods or something. Laurie said, I'm really late. What's going on with Gus? Today in the press conference, they detailed the lengths they had gone to find Gus, including searching the property, employing aircraft to take photo and video of the area, and then running it through AI to tell them what was in the photographs, whether it was animals or sheep or kangaroo or a person, and areas of interest that they could go and look at. And through all of that, they did not find Gus at all. So it was a very extensive search effort for him. They said it is the largest and most intensive missing person search ever undertaken by South Australian police. That should tell you how much they did on it. That is really bonkers. I hope we get those photos. I hope we get those photos that they showed at the press conference, because they are really cool. There you go. What an update it really is. Family member is no longer cooperating with investigators. That was the big takeaway here. The other one is that they executed that search warrant. They have taken items and vehicles from the property and are running them through forensics at the moment. And they said inconsistencies, it relates to timelines and versions of events provided to the police by family members. So when they interviewed all the different family members, they looked at it and looked at probably whose lines up, where is the majority here? And when you see 3 out of 4 people who all say the same thing, and then the fourth person keeps varying what they say, then you go, I think I've got something. Let's have a look at that. And that is what has happened here. Penguin says, not wandered off, taken or harmed by family. That is exactly it. Falson's mum says, I hope Ellie around the world begin to develop and present such succinct press conferences. Great role models. Yeah, they did a good job. Very good job. Hey, John Taylor, how are you? John Taylor says the Aboriginal tracker said he didn't think there were any kids on the property. Wouldn't there be footprints around the so-called sand pile? 100%. The fact they never found even anything at all, no biological matter, no clothing, no, urine, anything like that, nothing, no footsteps. It just never made any sense at all. Good to have you here, John, by the way. Here we are. Yeah. Amy says Granny has some explaining to do. Seems so. Gayla said Mum was at the sheep station on the property. Yes. Who else do we have? Yeah, when we get a copy of that press conference, we'll go through it again and we'll have another listen to it, but it'll probably be a bit later. It's not out as of yet. Lisbeth said, I don't know if I'm terrified, but I do agree with you. Do they think Gus was harmed by family? Yes. Yes, they do. They basically said they have ruled out every other scenario. There is no other scenario. It has to be someone close to Gus Lamont because everything else they have ruled out to the 9th degree. They have gone so far that it's just almost impossible to be anything else. That is what they were demonstrating today. Chipmunk said, I said that a long time ago, that specific family member. I think a lot of people picked up on strange behavior. We've all seen missing children cases before. And there's no one way to act or there's no one way to grieve a missing person, but we all sort of pick up on abnormal behavioral traits in these type of cases because we all kind of get a overview of how these sort of go, how they ebb and flow, how the people involved sort of do things. There's multiple things they can do. Sometimes they don't talk, sometimes they go to ground, sometimes they do this, but this one just was off from day one. Gayla said the father didn't stay there because of that person. Yep, he did. They did not get along. Let me see if I can get a roundup. They might have, I don't know if they've done one as of yet. Let me have a quick look. Not yet. They haven't done one as of yet. When they do, I'll bring it to you. Yeah, they haven't as of yet. I'm going to check the advertiser, see if they have some of the photos. Let's have a look. No, they don't have the photos as of yet either. Let's have a look. Yeah, so the big thing here was Gus abducted from the property? Cops are saying no. Yeah, that they are basically saying no, not going to happen. And they're saying here, yeah, they're basically saying that the first thing they investigated was him walking off from the property and becoming lost. They have already exhausted that particular line of inquiry. The other two investigative options were, did someone abduct him from the property? And then the other one was whether it was someone known to Gus was involved in his disappearance and suspected death. They're now saying the abducted option has been discounted and ruled out, and the only option left is someone known to him involved in his disappearance and suspected death. So that is where we are today. That is it. After many months, we finally get the answers that we've all been waiting for, which is a sort of bittersweet day because We all know that little boy is not going to come home, and we are most likely looking for a body, which is very sad. Let's have a look. By the way, I want to thank Sean for the donation to the channel. It's people like Sean that allows us to cover these type of events, and the other people who support this channel through the links in the chat or underneath the video. It is much appreciated. But if you can't do that and you still want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. We're here every day, 365 days a year, covering true crime in Australia and in the USA and the UK. So if you want to hear more about those type of cases, hit that subscribe button. Marilyn says never left the property. I don't know about never left the property. They said that there was a question at the press conference whether they would be looking further than the property. They said they're waiting for information to come forward to lead them to some direction. So possibly he left the property, but maybe not of his own free will. Maybe someone took him from the property, but not an abduction as such. Yes, not the family. One member of the family is now non-cooperative. The other family members are cooperative. Let's make that very clear. The other family members are cooperating with authorities. Just one person has shut down. Just one. Don't paint all of them with the same brush. Got to keep it, factual here. Gail said, I hope the parents lean on each other and don't blame themselves or each other. Yeah, it'd be very hard. Laurie said, I would turn myself in if I did something to my grandson. Well, maybe that might happen eventually. Maybe. All right. Hey, I think we're sort of at the end of this for now. If you have any comments, leave them under the video. I will try and come back for a late show, and we'll talk more about this in 2 hours. Because after Web Sleuths Live, I'll come back. Okay. I'm not sure how old the other siblings are. Yep, you are welcome. You are welcome. Remember, hit that thumbs up on the video. We've been trying to make sure it's over 100 thumbs up things every day. Where it's our mission right now. Every video over 100 likes or thumbs up or whatever you want to call it. Every day. Make it your mission to help Ping by thumbs upping the video. All right. I love you all. I'll see you in a couple of hours. What an amazing 2 hours or whatever, hour and a half we spent. That was fireworks. All right. Love you all. Bye.